Welcome back. It's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. Today from McFarlane Toys and their DC Superpowers collection, we are featuring the main man himself, the last Zarnian Lobo, the famed, infamous bounty hunter. Alright, so this is a figure I've been wanting since I saw the marketing photos some months back. I'm a big fan of the DC Superpowers collection by McFarlane. I think it's a wonderful homage to the original toy line done by Kenner, a lifetime ago. Beautiful retro-inspired card backing, as you can see here. You have Lobo's trademark logo up in the corner. A beautiful, iconic image done by comic book artist Simon Bisley. And they did edit the original image because I believe the original image had Lobo with his, I want to say his Iron Cross necklace. But, they had to take that out. Wonderful looking action figure. My only complaint so far is that the figure does not come with his trademark chain and hook, which we see right there. But I kind of feel like you could fix that problem by going to any craft department at your local Walmart, or maybe like a Hobby Lobby or a Michael's here in the United States, and just pick up some jewelry chain for really cheap, and then you could just wrap around his arm and just make a makeshift hook out of a paper clip or something. But great looking figure, and it's one of the larger figures in the Superpowers collection line also. On the card back, awesome checklist of all 51 figures we've received so far. Today is March 19th, 2025, and I believe McFarlane, if I saw the news correctly, I think they're losing the DC license. So it was a wonderful 5 years. They really cranked out product, and it's kind of cool that the Superpowers collection, they went over 50 figures. Over here, a nice small bio on the main man himself. Lobo is crude, rude, and nearly impossible to kill. This super tough bounty hunter wanders the cosmos on his space bike, flying from one assignment to another, with plenty of pit stops at local alien bars along the way. And yeah, let's get this guy out. So for me, Lobo is one of my favorite DC comic book characters, period. I was first introduced to the character in the early 90s with the original Lobo miniseries that was done by, I think, Alan Grant, Keith Geffen, and illustrated by Simon Bisley. At the time, they kind of rebranded Lobo. He kind of was DC's answer to Wolverine during that time period. His first appearance was, I believe, in Omega Men, I think early 80s. And here he is, the main man himself. Surprisingly, he has a cloth good vest, which it doesn't bother me too much. I would have preferred a plastic one, but this is alright nonetheless. Again, he's missing his Iron Cross necklace and, of course, his chain. But it's still a really wonderful looking figure. It seems like they pulled a lot of inspiration from Lobo's appearance. I want to say from the Superman animated series of the mid to late 90s. Large action figure. This guy stands in at about 6.5 inches. So he's definitely one of the taller figures in the Superpowers collection. The color scheme is nice. You kind of have this. It's a very very light blue, almost borderlining on white in appearance. He has the red eyes as usual, the stubble and the facial hair and the makeup around the eyes. The hair is nicely sculpted. It's a little bit dynamic with it kind of flowing, has some nice volume to it. The back of the vest is blank. There's a part of me that wants to get a second figure just to really customize and kit bash it so it looks like Lobo proper. If I bought another figure of this, I might give him the Bite Me Fanboy logo on the back of his vest. And like I mentioned earlier, I might get a jewelry chain and wrap around his arm so it looks a little bit closer to the comic book. He could use some more paint application also, in my opinion, but for what it is and what it's supposed to represent, I think it's pretty decent. Keep in mind, this figure is trying to emulate the action figures we got in the 80s. And I think it does a pretty decent job. Examining his articulation, Lobo's head swivels left and right. His arms move. There is no waist swivel, and his legs kick up, and then his knees bend. I'm kind of surprised that they didn't give us a deluxe box set with Lobo and his motorcycle, or his space bike. But, now is a little bit too late in the game, seeing as McFarlane's losing the DC license. But at the very least, at least we got this figure. And it's nice, it's a doozy, and he's pretty big. So for a size comparison, here he is next to a very standard DC Superpowers collection figure by McFarlane. We have the Yellow Lantern, Sinestro, and this is kind of the general size of most Superpowers figures in the McFarlane line. And you can see Lobo is this gigantic. I almost feel like he's a little bit too big. This kind of suffers from the same problem like that Mattel Build-A-Figure from years ago. If some of you might remember the old Mattel Lobo figure for their DC Classics line, and that thing was gigantic. And I kind of feel like that's the situation here. I kind of feel like he should have been at least half an inch shorter. This one's just way too tall. And then here he is next to one of the other large figures in the range. We have Kilowog. And he just towers over Kilowog as well. And just for the hell of it, let's pull out some larger action figures. Here's a Marvel Legends X-Men Vulcan. And you can see it's almost like the same size as a Marvel Legends figure, which is outrageous. So if you're curious, I got this on Amazon.com here in the United States. I'm not sure of his availability out in the actual wild. But if you live in the States and if you want to grab them, Amazon's the place to check out. Alright, so with that being said, let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.